Good morning, Lafayette. It's your meteorologist, Brian Burden, with your weather forecast, not only for today, but I'm going to take a pretty good look at the month also, as it looks like there are some changes starting to form in some of the long range forecasts, at least for the rest of this month. And here we are, just 7 days into it. It's April 7th already. Wow. Tuesday, man, the months have just been flying by. It just seems like yesterday was Christmas to me, and here we are, the beginning of April 7th already. So, past April Fool's Day, national championship basketball game last night was on tap for many people who probably were out and about, maybe watching that or at home, just kicking back, watching Michigan win the national championship. At least that's what I thought I saw for the highlight real quick. Hopefully that's exactly what happened. I wasn't AI'd into believing somebody else won. Let's see what our weather's like today, though. You probably woke up, if you've tried to step outside the door and you've been met with a little frosty exposure out there, as the temperatures have been below freezing this morning. It's currently 31 degrees outside, and we did talk about this in the last couple of days, that we were going to get these cold temperatures, then we're going to rebound, and then we might see some ups and downs. And let's take a look at what a lot of that looks like. I'll go straight into some of the charts here right here this morning. There's your local temperature right now, the temperature, and what you're going to see on the temperature there is it's 31. I wish they had a little bit more of the numbers in here. You see the dew points at 20 degrees, right? So that tells me I'm roughly somewhere around 60, 70% humidity. There it is. Even in my head, 63%, you can see there. So at least it was dry enough overnight. It wasn't too saturated where we saw a ton of frost. When I was looking out around my house, it didn't look like there was a ton. But here it is, it's 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Maybe the sun's gotten onto it in places. Maybe you saw a bit more of that frost in the local area, and hopefully you were able to take your plants in after the warning yesterday, letting you know it was there. Now, the freeze warning still is in effect until like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock this morning, so it's still there. Once that sun gets up on a higher angle, we'll start to warm things up. But we are not going to get very warm at all today. Showing a high temperature of 45. That is it. That is far below normal. We should be somewhere right around 57, 58 degrees right now for our highs. So we're going to be a good 10, 12 degrees below normal there. And then it looks like overnight tonight, we're still going to get back down to somewhere around 36. If you look at these numbers as the way they're setting up, though, I see a lot of warm temperatures here. Wednesday, Thursday, warm. A little bit of a cool shot on Friday, then back to some warm temperatures on Saturday and Sunday, way above. We're back up to 80 degrees. So Sunday looks like an active day of chances you'll be able to go out and about. And what I do see now is a little bit less rainfall. Just generally looking at what we saw here yesterday on these daily progs. And again, they just kind of take the canned numbers out of here. What does the model show as the high? What does the model show as the low? We're going to go into each charts and go into how they move and how they're moving along, why they're moving, where they're moving, and what they do on a daily basis. So we've now looked at the current weather, or what it looks like at least right now, and it does look like we're going to be staying somewhere in the 30s and into the low 40s throughout most of the day by peaking this afternoon. But what does it look like out there in reality? Let's start looking at some of the cameras around the state, and here we are up at the 231 junction as it hits 65, looking towards the north right now. Sorry about that. I definitely have something in the throat this morning. And what I do see is some clouds, kind of just a little bit of stratocumulus clouds. And I think we may form a little bit more of those as we get off into the morning here. But then they'll dissipate this afternoon. We'll see more sunshine. And then I see just a little bit of high cirrus off on the horizon. Otherwise, dry roads. I don't really see any frost up here. We're looking pretty good, at least at that junction at 231. And then looking back a little bit farther away, this is Remington. And we see more of the same. We see a little bit of clouds on the horizon. We don't see much else at all on the ground. Sun's starting to get out there too. Very nice. And then as we look at the 231 exit, and this is looking towards the north also. And I see the clouds, just those little bit of stratocu out there on the horizon there. It's a little bit closer in to Remington. and to the 231 area there. And I don't really see a ton of frost or anything like that on the ground either. Looking back the opposite direction, there's your 231, and I still do see some water in the field still. We saw this yesterday here. I'll bet there's still some in Frankfurt also, but we are getting some drying period here, it looks like. So that may be good for the planters and guys getting out into the fields in the next few days without bogging down some of those tractors. Here's State Road 18. A little bit of the shade from some of the clouds are starting to see there. You can see that not as bright out as it is there in the other two farther north, and we'll see that on the satellite picture too. There are more clouds as you head south today. And we're looking towards the south today, so you're starting to see the other pictures pointed to the north pretty much. See a lot of clouds on the horizon there and up in the sky. Kind of sunny in Lafayette, but I see clouds right here all the way through the area. This is 43. Looking back towards the north, where the exit is there, heading back towards the north. Let's see, yeah, on that picture. And then as we go bouncing down to 25 going over I-65 right now, you'll see that there's a nice shadow on the ground. I don't really see a ton of clouds over Lafayette at the moment. That's good, and we're seeing plenty of sun and no frost. Looks like most of the frost was either hit and miss or just has melted already in places. Now, as we move down to State Road 26, look at that, very nice. Shadows, you can see really easy. I can see some high cirrus, and then I see that strata Q off on the horizon that we were seeing in different places on the charts to the north, or the pictures to the north that we were looking at. When we get down to Dayton, more of the same, some strata Q on the horizon and some high clouds and wispy clouds up above, but lots of sunshine over us right now. And then there's Frankfurt, still some of the water that we can see in the fields there. They took on a bit more water over the last few weeks than we did here in Lafayette. And some clouds on the horizon just like everywhere else. Looking back towards the sun on the camera there. And then down to the rest stop looks pretty good right now for the truckers that are there. And what I like about this one is I can see a bit of the sky more here. You can kind of see that you can see the clouds there, at least on that front. Let's pop out and look back up. Let's go up to West Lafayette. West Lafayette looks pretty good right now. This is Sagamore, where the Walmart is, basically looking back towards the north right now. So there's the camera on that one. What else do we've got in the local area? Here, let's go out to the airport here real quick. The airport looks pretty bright out there. I can see the cirrus there looking back towards the campus, right? So you're looking at kind of northwestish. Now I would call it northeast, I guess, to north. You see the shadows right here coming from the east right now. So looking back that direction, let's see if we go down to River Road. From there. Sure enough, there's River where it runs into 231 and 52, all comes together basically. And you got a camera there looking back towards the west right now. So that's what you're seeing there. Dry roads. I still don't see any frost anywhere locally, so we did pretty good there. And then there's the mall, looking really nice and dry on the roads there, and quiet this morning. No one out getting their early Christmas shopping done early here on what day of the week is it? It is Tuesday. That's how bad I've been getting. It's a good thing the little computer tells me what's going on for time and date, for sure. All right, let's look at the satellite pictures and see what's going on outside. I just went straight to the IR throughout most of the Midwest to show you what we're seeing. And we can see the cirrus showing up very well, very nice. We saw it on the cameras, right? So we can see a good batch of it to our south. Lafayette is right here. And in the last half hour to hour, some of that cirrus has gone over. And then there's one little streak of cirrus left. We don't see a lot in the low levels, or at least we can't pick it up right now. And we see this batch of clouds out towards our west. In central Iowa and central Missouri, it does look like there's a little bit of rain in this system here. But it wants to dive to our south and fall apart as it bangs into the high pressure area that's right here. So the broad area of high pressure behind the low that went through in the last couple of days, that system there, you can see it already. Look at all the clouds kind of streaming across the Adirondacks and the Appalachian Mountains, and so there you can see that through that area pretty easily. It kind of looks like waves on the ocean, right? That's what you're seeing there, and that's from the turbulent skies is what you're seeing from that bouncing along. So they've got some pretty strong gusty winds in the mountains there, and then you're seeing some lake effect clouds coming off of Lake Hudson, and then back to the north and also off of Lake Erie. Cold enough in some of these places that they are still dropping some snow. And you see some clouds coming all the way down Lake Michigan, but the atmosphere is a little bit warmer here, not quite as cold as it is back over here towards Lake Erie, Lake Hudson, back over towards Lake Ontario also. So we're going to keep an eye on this little batch here, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Let's switch it over real quick and pop the radar on there. See that? There's that streak of light rain that's in there. It looks a lot scarier than it really is. This is mostly just light rain, and notice it's eroding. You're seeing less intensity as it comes farther to the south and as it comes farther towards the east. It's all eroding on the outer edges, just like we're seeing just the cirrus that we're seeing from this mainly is all we're seeing as it gets into, say, if you're going to St. Louis today, you're probably going to run into a few scattered showers on the way there if you're driving over. Take the south route, you have a better chance of seeing light rain. If you take the north route, you'll have a better chance of seeing just a smidge more rain on that if you're heading that direction today. So that's for the rest of us. Now, I'm going to go back to the, back to the infrared, and then let's go in a little closer here into Indiana and see what it looks like. And you can see the clouds coming off the lake to the north, and those are being picked up by the cameras up here pretty easily. Even in spots down towards here, there may be a little bit of stratocumulus involved in there, but generally speaking, most of us are doing pretty good on that front. Let's go back out a little bit. There we go. And then you can see that a little bit easier. Sometimes you get in too close. It's too close. It's hard to pick up some of the things you'll be looking at through that picture and during that time frame. So let's see. Now that we've seen the satellite pictures, let's see what the model actually says is going to be happening today. Let's go to the HRRR. Right, the HRRR is and it's about 27% right now done on the 12Z run. I'm going to go back to the 6Z run, and then by the end of the hour or so, we'll be able to go back and look at the 12Z HRRR, and it'll be pretty close to finished. Let's look at the big picture first, outside. What are we looking at for clouds and that kind of thing? First off, let's look at precipitation type. Remember, there's the band of precipitation. Does look like there's some snow in this, basically in Iowa right now is what they're saying is coming to the ground. And this is right now, this is 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning. There's 9, 10. You notice it's kind of slowly edging towards us, but the big old broad high is in control right now. And what we used to say is big blue high, big blue sky, and it's trying to erode the clouds out of here so we can get into some of that big blue sky. But it's also anchoring in some of the cold air in here for the rest of today, it looks like, before we start to warm up as the week goes on. And then look at how this rainfall just falls apart. Just the high's not moving very quickly. This is more of an upper level system than it is a lower level system, and it's just banging into the high and falling apart. You just see it erode and fall apart through that time frame, and then it tries to edge towards us like kind of like a pinwheel, right? So the southern half couldn't make it, so now the other side is whipping around the top to try to come into the high too, and does the same thing. And what does that do? It brings us a slight chance of a morning shower at about 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. There's a slight chance of some rain with this, if this even stays together, based on what we've seen so far and how it falls apart pretty easily, especially right here in the center, right here in Iowa and Illinois. That's during the day today. I expect that we won't see much out of this at all, but there will be a slight risk for a shower tomorrow morning about 4 o'clock. And then look how it just falls apart even over the top of us. Looks like it's more of a Wisconsin and into Michigan hanging together up there for them. And we start to get into warmer weather. And wow, you just go right on out. We shift immediately back to the southwest flow, a warm, nice, cuddly flow for us on Wednesday. So we see some warmth there, and then we see a system kind of popping up, trying to brush into us. It looks like probably for Thursday into Friday, but we're in that pinwheel status. You got a low down here. I can just start to see it developing, right? We know there's a low way up in Canada, and somewhere probably from the spot it's at now, Milwaukee, give or take a little bit, down to maybe the Ohio River, this is going to flatten out and go east to west. And when it goes east to west, it's going to pinwheel around itself. And this portion will go back to the north, and this portion will try to force its way to the south. And where will that area be? Because there will be a lot of showers in that area. Now, this is showing Thursday at 2 in the morning is where it will be at this point. And we've not really even picked up moisture to the southwest by this time frame in Kansas on Thursday morning, early Thursday morning. And I'll be interested to see how far that goes. Let's see, the Nam Nest goes a little farther, I think, out. Not much, but it shows it in the same place or real close, right? And then it brings it down, starts to wash it out. We start to see that we're trying to connect up with the low-pressure system back down towards our southwest. And then it settles itself in and just kind of falls apart. That's good news. And I'm starting to see more of a push up into here. The pinwheel is close to us, but there's not a lot of precipitation involved with it right now. That's the good news. Let's see if the European shows it in the same place. Oh, it went to a different run there. There we go. Precipitation. See, it shows it in the same place right over us kind of for a few hours there. Let's watch it there. And so it kind of goes into this spot, and then this comes down, and this wants to go north in a kind of a pinwheel fashion, and we're right in the center of that. And then we can just, a lot of times it'll fall apart and there won't be anything there, but right now this is showing some showers just to the north of Lafayette, which is right here Thursday during the day. That's Thursday afternoon about 2 o'clock. So it shows it developing. It has it slightly slower. There's potential for a shower into the evening hours. This is like 8 o'clock into the evening. That's the main band. And then it pushes back to the north. And then eventually that system drags in another low. And the cold front behind it comes in Friday, it looks like. So we're going at 3-hour jumps here in this at this time frame. So here's like Friday morning, right? So there we were Thursday evening. There we were at about 11 o'clock at night. Here we are at about 2 in the morning, and we've seen the warm front has now pushed back to the north of us, and we're getting back into the warm sector. And then here's the cool front back to the south, and another low pressure system starting to form back down towards our southwest and out to our west. Then it kind of washes its way through our region. We see the first chances of showers. Okay, this is 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, right? Everything's to our north. Let's go one slot ahead, which is 3 hours, and it's right on our doorstep, and it looks like up north of us we'll be starting to get some rain at about 8 o'clock on Friday morning. And then Friday morning continues on, and now we are at about 11 o'clock. And we see right here there's a band of showers and thunderstorms, and that's actually southwest of us. So if we go due west, we're right here, southwest. So anytime in that time frame, we could start to pick up some showers. So call it noon to 1 o'clock or so on Friday. And then Friday afternoon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, here we go. Now we're up to 5 o'clock, and the showers are around us. We'll have to keep an eye on for some severe weather on Friday just in case. It's not a strong system, but it looks like it could pop at least a thunderstorm or two. And then the rain continues, and that's 8 o'clock. And then finally, by about 11 o'clock at night, Saturday, it's long gone. This will be Friday night going into Saturday morning, okay? So most of the rain is on Friday, and it looks like it's going to start mid-morning to late morning to around noon. This is actual time frame. Let's see, there is 8 o'clock, right? There's 11 o'clock, and there's 1 o'clock. So, or 2 o'clock, excuse me. So there's your time frame, right in that time frame. So let's go 11 to 2. It looks pretty solid chances for rainfall in there. But we are it's Tuesday, so we'll fine tune the timing on this a little bit better. But midday Friday, we'll go with rain. Then it kind of goes through. The high takes over for a little bit, pushes the rain back to the north, but we get back into the warm sector for a while. Here we are on Sunday. Sunday looks very nice on Sunday. No rainfall, warm temperatures. Here we are 2 in the morning on Monday. 2 in the morning on Monday, we see showers, boom, starting to pop up. We see them all along and around us on Monday morning. It looks like 8 o'clock. We'll have something in here by that time frame, okay? So, and then we continue on Monday. Monday looks rainy, almost a week out now. Maybe a little bit of a break on Tuesday, but still some scattered showers here by the late morning into the afternoon. That looks rather intense. It looks like it wants to tie into maybe the moisture to the south a bit more, but then we get into the warm sector again, and we're looking pretty good. In the warm sector, nice and toasty, and then Wednesday, boom, there comes the cold front. On Wednesday, midday Wednesday next week, the stronger cold front. This one, I can see some cold air behind it back here by that time frame, and that probably still won't last very long. And now that we're in this transition time of the season, we're going to transition back to warm pretty quick. Maybe next Wednesday into Thursday morning are cold and chilly a little bit because we've been fairly warm for a week or so at this point, and then we start to warm back up. So it's a day or two of chilliness, but no rainfall. And then we get all the way out to the following Monday, almost 2 weeks from now. And there's a big one out there at the time frame. I think this showed this yesterday too. This will be Monday night to Tuesday morning, April 21st. That looks like a pretty good storm. Is it on the GFS? It is not on the GFS at the same time. Does it have a storm in the area? Let's let it load first. There it goes. Come on, 72, 78. There we go. That time frame. So it does bring in a storm right in there. It's a little later. It's pushed it out to Thursday if that's the same storm. Or is it earlier? It shows Sunday. It's showing us to get it. See the differences between what you have almost 2 weeks out from now. It showed Sunday pretty quiet on the European model, but on the GFS it shows rain on that during that time frame. See, so that's how you can get so many differences in forecasts. It's so long, and don't take everything as if it's the gospel, so to speak, for your long range forecasts. As we look out all the way to Wednesday, April 22nd, more than 2 weeks from now, during that time frame. Okay, so that's the European model and the GFS. And the GFS, that was the way you looked at them the same. If you want to look at them in more precipitation type look, you get the greens and the blues out of it. Is there anywhere in here where we see any blue come over Lafayette? I'm going backwards now, just so we can look at it real quick. Don't see any real snow in there, so we may be done for the year. Let's see. Let's go back to today and move forward. See, there's that flurry chance. Maybe. That's a fleeting chance at best. And that little bit of light rain that could pop tonight. I don't see anything. Doesn't look like we have a real good chance of any snowfall, at least in the next couple of weeks right now. And that could change because yesterday's long-range model looked a lot more up and down. Today, when I look at it, I see a lot more warmth in the picture, and I see temperatures above normal, and I only see 1 or 2 cold pushes compared to 3 days of warmth, 3 days of cool, 3 days of warmth, 2 days of cool. We're going to see an extended period of warmer temperatures after today. As we get into the rest of the week and we go a little bit farther out, we're starting to see a little bit more of that. So let's go back and look at the temperatures. Go back to the HERB. I'm going to come in close on this so we can look at those temperatures during this time frame. And we still have the rain on there, but let's go and look at the temperature, and we'll come back to the time frame we are now. Boom. Okay, so there's 9 o'clock this morning, showed us at 31. We knew that. We came on the air, it was 31 degrees. And then the next hour, maybe 33. We're not going to get very warm today. Remember, the high is to our north. It's still pulling winds out of the north down from us, and that's where our cold air is right now. It's to our north, so we're not going to tap into the warmth to our south at all today. 15Z, there it is, 35. Let's see how high it gets today. There's a 44 by 4 o'clock, and we stretched to 45. I see Monticello. Monticello is north of us, of course, a little chillier. But Crawfordsville's at 48 degrees, maybe 49 around there. So there's an outside chance, especially with the eroding clouds. If we kind of just, bumble in and out of the clouds and it blocks the sun a bit off and on, I think 44, 45 is where we're at today. But if we can get into a little bit more of that sun here in Lafayette, more like 47 to 49, maybe 50 for a few of us. We're into April now, so, any kind of sun is going to pop that temperature a couple more more degrees. But the model says 45 right now, at least right there on that front, with 48s real close to us. And then you can kind of see where the rain is and where the cloud cover is, because look at the temperatures there. They're in the 40s there. And then just to the south of them, St. Louis, they're into the mid-50s by this afternoon. So let's see what it drops to overnight. Now we don't get as cold tomorrow morning, where it looks like we're only going to be in the mid-30s. Let's see if we get all the way down there. 33, 32, we're close. So they don't have a freeze advisory out or anything yet this morning, so that makes me think this is just going to be very short-lived, and it's not going to be much. It definitely wasn't. The model yesterday and the day before were showing like 28 to 30 here, depending on what you were looking at. So that's why they put the frost advisory out. Not sure if they're going to put it out for tomorrow morning, but if it was me, I'd probably bring the plants in that I'm still worried about if I've got them sitting out on the porch right now. And then tomorrow starts to rebound, and look at our winds shift around to the south. Look at all the warmth out to our south and out towards our west. It's really starting to warm up out there early morning tomorrow morning. And then here we are at noon. We're already at 53 by noon tomorrow. 55 in Crawfordsville, 50 up in Reynolds, 50 over in Logansport by noon tomorrow. And then it pops up. It gets all the way to 63 by late in the afternoon. Look at that, 66. It is going to be a nice warm day tomorrow. Let's see if we top out at 68, it says, at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Can we... Well, there we go, 69. You know what that means. We're going for 70 tomorrow. We're going to shoot for 70. I know it's close to us. We don't see a big batch of really warm 70s out here, but let's shoot for the 70 tomorrow. After that little wave goes through tonight, we shift back around to the south-southwest tomorrow, and I'd rather go for 70, 71 tomorrow than I would 69, at least at this point. And then let's see what happens, 60, and then it drops off, goes into the morning hours, and it stops on us at 2 in the morning. And we are not still far enough ahead with our other run, I don't think, at this point. Let's see what it says here. Yeah, it stops so far at 14Z on Wednesday. It just stops there. So we're 54%. So we'll get that going here pretty good. Let's take a look at the NAM says when we add those temperatures on there. I'll bet it's not as warm, right? Let's see what it says for today. We go back, here we are today. 15Z. It's been running lower, but there's a 45 in there. It did get us to 45. So both the HER and the NAM Nest are showing 45 today. Usually one or the other is up or above, obviously, right? And then tomorrow morning, does it get to 32? Only shows us at 34. So slightly warmer during the morning, it says tomorrow. And you can see where it's pushing the colder air back out towards our east a bit more on that. So Lafayette being right here, you can see that the cold is out here to the east. And then we take that and move it on down. And as we go through the morning tomorrow morning, we start to warm up. What did we say by noon? 52 degrees. There you go, by noon tomorrow. We see the warmth in the picture. How high does it get? It only gets to 65 tomorrow. That's the tops. So one's at 65, the other one's at 60, was it 68 or 69? And we're going to shoot for 70 tomorrow. But you definitely looks like you're going to be in the mid-60s for sure tomorrow afternoon. And then it goes overnight. It doesn't get cold at all overnight tomorrow night, it's saying 50s. Low to mid-50s. Here we are there's 8 o'clock Thursday morning, right? And then it warms back up to like 65 before it turns off. So you'll probably get a few more degrees out of that. I believe Thursday is the day where the rain is trying to come in from the north. Let's put that on there real quick. There we go. Yeah, but it washed the front out during that time frame. It was getting that kind of turnover over us during that time frame. All right, so let's go back to the temperatures real quick and extend the temperatures farther out past Thursday. And let's take a look, because what we're going to see here is we're going to see a lot of warmth in the picture here. Now, remember, average high this time of the year right now is 57, but by the end of this, it's about 65 to 67. So, because we're literally almost putting on a degree every other day. as for our average high temperatures this time of the year. We're increasing pretty good. So by the end of the month, it's 68. So 65 to 66 is about where this average will stop, because I think it stops around the 22nd to 24th. So there you go. Here we go. We're going out. We see 50s on Friday, 50s and 60s right there, low 60s. That's the day with clouds around. We see the front trying to come and bring us a little bit more on Friday during that day. That's the day with the precip, right? Let me go back to the winter side. There's the front coming through on that day. That's what that day is showing us. And then we go back to the temperature there. So that's why we're getting that, right? We're getting some cooler temperatures on Friday. It may be pretty warm in the early morning hours Friday, right? See here where we may be pushing 60 in the early morning hours. So our high may come early that morning. Because it looks like it's going to knock down all of our temperatures as the day goes through the day. The entire day it goes down. I'm going to go back a little bit. Here we are at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 56, 57. It was 58, maybe somewhere in there by the early morning hours. Look at that, 59, 62. That's at 11 o'clock at night. There's midnight. So the high may come at early morning like that. And we've seen a few of those lately. But then we get the shot of reinforcing cold coming down. There it is. And then Saturday morning, still a little chilly, right? Looks like we may hit the upper 30s to around 40 degrees. And then how quickly do we rebound? Well, by mid-morning, our winds are out of the east, and it's 54 degrees. By about noon to 2 o'clock, here we are at 62, and we're trying to shift around to the south, and 64 after that. So 64 on Saturday looks very warm, and then we're going to totally shift around to the south while we kind of dodge a shower here or there off and on as we go through the rest of the weekend, but we get really warm on Sunday. This one's showing 74. I think the European was showing close to 80, and there's potential there to get us that high. Look how warm it is here, all the way up, all the way into Wisconsin. It's in the 60s. Everybody's got a warm day on Sunday right now. And then we go on out. It's very warm Sunday. So let's see. Sunday, if we're 75 degrees and our average is 60, well, you can see we're 15 degrees above normal. And we're only going to bottom out that next morning at like 65. So a very warm day on tap for Monday, too. But we have a front coming through, if I remember right, on that day. There it is, coming through late Monday into Tuesday. Boom, in comes a shot of reinforcing air. There's some cold temperature right there next Wednesday morning. Looks like we can, if this just shifts even slightly to the east a little bit, then we're back into just below freezing temperatures. We'll have to see how that happens and what happens with it as we go, because it's more than a week away right now. But it looks kind of chilly that morning. Very cold and chilly on Thursday. See, the high on Wednesday, all of it, this is saying the high is only going to be 30-something. So this is a day to watch out for. This is the day where things change on Wednesday. So there we are Wednesday morning with the cold weather coming through, right? Let's take a look at what kind of precipitation just went through us. All right, there's the cold front. I see that. All right, so we have a front that washes through, and then there's a low that's to our south. And then look at that. That shows snow really close and ice close to us Wednesday morning next week. That right there, that is 11 o'clock in the morning. And bam, there's a chance of snow right there on that. So the GFS is still showing a chance of snow next Wednesday. Now, 8 days from now. Anything could change between now and then. That is a strong possibility. But it does show it. And now we know why we see the cold in there, right? When we were looking at our temperatures during that time frame, we saw the pocket of cold right over the top of us right here. There's Lafayette. It's 32 degrees. Might be snowing on Wednesday next week. Definitely something to watch out for. And that could be the last gasp. But look at this. It shows temperatures. Did the European model show this? It did not. It did not show this. It just showed a little dent in the temperatures. That was it. It did not show teens in central Illinois and single digits. That can't be single digits. It is a pocket of single digits in southern Michigan. Come on. I see 28 north of that. It can't be. So there's a lot of cold open air. That tells me open skies here. Everybody else has cloud cover. Right? Everybody else has cloud cover, but there's open skies through this big pocket. Guess where we are? We're right on the edge of that. We're at 27. Yeah, it could be up to the north of us just 14 degrees, right? So, and south of us in the 30s. So definitely going to be a pretty good forecast for. I'll bet this shifts to like Thursday, Friday, and it modifies. It gets warmer. All right, that's my bet is what will probably happen because that's what happens normally. It shifts a little bit later and it warms up a little bit. Not all of them, but a lot of times that's what I've seen over the years. But then look at the pocket of cold. Hang on Thursday, but you see it receding, right? But it's probably trying to show some snow on the ground here, even potentially there. That's why it's staying cold in there. So that we'll have to keep an eye on for sure next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is my bet, and I bet it modifies too by then. Let's see what happens. So it stays a little cooler for a couple days there on this long range on the GFS, and then it looks like 70s rebound quick. Saturday we're already right back into the 70-degree range. Look at that, Logansport 70, 69 here on Saturday afternoon, next Saturday, and then we push out a little bit. We stay warm overnight, Sunday night into the Monday time frame, and we're looking at temperatures back in the mid 70s next weekend. So it's a short range of cold, but it does hang on for just a couple days there, and then we get real warm again right away, real fast. So it's now we're the April 21st, and your average high about this time frame is around 63, 64 degrees. So these aren't far off from normal, really. Maybe 5 to 10 degrees on average. It looks like we're going to be above for our highs, and we're probably going to be about 10 degrees above normal on a lot of our lows, from what I can see, because we're going to go from about 37 to 46. So maybe it's not that bad, really, by the time the end of this goes. Yeah, temperatures aren't that bad. Looks like we're going to be above normal, but we're going to have to watch out for that one. Let's go back out real quick, that one sector. I want to take a look at the rain on this one, just so we can see what happened with that. Precipitation, there we go, winter. All right, that was next Wednesday, right? Let's go back and see what we got here. Here's Thursday. There it is. Wow, take a look at that bad boy. All right, so that's a pretty impressive system setting up. And it shows a lot more rain around us during that time frame. So the GFS is a lot wetter than the European model was, and we can see it moving through here. And then it kind of goes through. The front is behind us. We're getting washed out with some more rain on Tuesday. There it is. And then this low comes up from the south, but I can see the cold line just to our north, right? So let's see how that does. It says it's going to pull in some cold air, but I see it wrapping around the backside, and there might be a little layer of ice. Now, this is possible because it's close to this line, but the atmosphere might be holding a pocket of cold air in it right there. But we see some lows tracking just to our south down along the Ohio River. That puts us in a bad spot for treks, but it is in a warm period here. We are in the middle of April. So let's see what happens with that. And then sure enough, you can see the cold air coming in behind that system. So what we're talking about is some kind of in and out wishy-washy rain during the week, right? Nothing real dramatic. Let's go back to Sunday. See, Sunday looks gorgeous, right? Boom, boom, boom. Then late Sunday into Monday, we bring in a chance of rain. I think both the European model showed that too, but it's not a lot. It's just really hit and miss. Looks like there's a line of thunderstorms could come through, say, let's see if it comes through on us at all. If it is, it's sometime in the evening, late Sunday evening to midnight on Monday for a time frame there. And then it kind of goes through, and then we're just kind of hit and miss, very light sprinkles or light showers at the best. On Monday, there's a little line of some thunderstorms that tries to come through on, again, Monday night into Tuesday. We keep hitting our thunderstorms at night. We're going to be fine for severe weather. And then it taps out Tuesday. We're kind of right along the line of where all the rain is. This looks a lot wetter next week than the European model does. And then, boom, up comes our storm. And then that kind of clears the atmosphere for a bit and may make us drier. See how it's drier? I don't see anything Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Very dry weather, though. So, and then it'll be warmer, right? We noticed that when we were looking at. Where the European model, I had the storm, I think, sooner is what it did. I think we were still looking at something on the European model for the beginning of next week. Let's go look at it, because I like to see how models differ. So here we are on Sunday next week. Let's see what the European model says when I put precipitation on there for it. And it shows a system out to our west, right? Comes in. It's wishy-washy. Comes through on Monday for us. Kind of goes through. There's a second system. Here comes a system on Wednesday. Okay, so it pushes the big system through on Wednesday. It's not nearly got the southern influence, but it does have the cold air behind it. So the systems are there, both on Wednesday next week, but one says it'll snow. The other one says it's going to be too warm for snow. Okay, so as we get closer and closer, we'll be able to fine-tune that more and more, and we'll figure that out. Plus, it may back up a day or two. We'll have to see how that goes. But right now, it says Wednesday next week. That's our potential for some snow in there. Remember when I went through here the first time, I didn't talk about snow at all. I said it doesn't look like there's any snow in the picture for us, but there's your shot. Could be next week. Surface temperatures on that day, see, it's showing 63 Wednesday morning still. It's got a little bit later time frame, and it doesn't drop the temperature as dramatically. It only drops us into the 30s. Let's see if it gets warmer, colder. There, there's a shot by Thursday morning, but it's only temperatures are still in the upper 30s at this time frame. Hence the reason it's not going for any snow, and it's already cleared the front way out over here by the time the cold air comes in behind that one. That's a little more typical of what we would see, is the colder air behind it trying to filter in. But we've also seen many times lows come up from the southwest and they arc their moisture around the top side. And when they do that, they'll drop into the cold air, right? All that moisture comes around the top side counterclockwise and then rotates into the cold air, and then it can start snowing. And if you remember, our heaviest snowfalls usually come from that direction, from the southwest. They come from the southwest. The low goes just south of us, and it's really cold and on the north side, and it drops all that snow in there because it's tapped into the moisture out of the Gulf of America. So there you go, at least on that front. That's what it's looking like there. Let's go back and see what temperature is right now. It has popped up to a whopping 32 degrees, and we just are not going to get a lot of warmth out of this today. I'm not complaining about 45 degrees. Could be a lot worse considering it is just early April. Not bad at all. Still the warning's out. Let's take a quick look at the flood. See if I can get the flood one to pop up on here. All right, there's the freeze warning. It's still valid until 10 a.m., so you got 20 minutes on that bad boy. And we are right at 32. Frost and freeze conditions could kill crops, other sensitive vegetation, and possible damage to unprotected outdoor plumbing. But we're looking for the flood warning. There it is. Well, I keep popping on it. I can't get it because it's underneath the other one. Typical, right? There we go. I at least have the flood warning for down the river a little bit more. This is down near Vincennes, of course. 20.5 feet early tomorrow afternoon is what they're looking for on that. There we go. It just keeps going right back to the freeze warning on me. I can't get the underlying. See if we can get it there. Nope. Won't let me do it, guys. Sorry about that. Just one of those days. Not going to happen. Just not going to happen. Not going to happen. We're looking at our pictures around the area. There's the mall looking pretty good right now. Back to the north again real quick here. Let's look up near Wolcott. Wolcott, there we are looking to the north right now. And we got sunshine on the ground. Sunshine, how about down towards the State Road 18 exit? There you go. Sunshine, and you can still see the high clouds in Lafayette back down towards 43. Sunshine, nice. Pretty good. I want to see down towards, here we are, Frankfort. Let's go all the way down there. Let's hit the one that you can see across the road. Nope, of course I missed it. Here we go. One more back. There it is. Again, the flooding in some of the fields down there means a slowed time for them to get into their fields and work on it. But I see more blue here than we saw before, so not bad at all. Let's take a look and see if we can go out over towards, yeah, there it is. The Fowler one looks pretty good. You can see a little bit of the stratic Q a little bit easier on this picture. Not too bad. You can see some of that coming through. And what happened yesterday was some of this formed in the morning and then it dissipated. And I would expect the exact same thing today, except it probably won't be as prevalent today. That being said, who knows? Ray's on here. Ray's talking in here. Awesome, Ray. Ray says, good morning. Congratulations to Michigan. The Big Ten has a championship after a long drought. That is for sure. And now you know what's going to happen? They're going to win like 6 of the next 8. Right? That's exactly what's going to happen. The Big Ten will. Illinois will get one. Purdue will get one. I was going to say Indiana. Sorry, guys. That being said, Michigan's going to probably get another one. Maybe Michigan State. And yes, maybe the possibility of Indiana. Nebraska, Iowa, you never know when one of them could jump up there. Wisconsin, right? So we got some good. Oh, and we can't forget about UCLA. What do they do with their program? So there's some good programs out there that could create some very good scenarios for sporting in the Big Ten and basketball as a general whole. So that's something we could definitely get into. So there we are. We're 32 degrees right now, only heading up to 45. A very nice couple of days, Wednesday, Thursday, but some rain coming into the picture on Friday, dropping our temps. And then by Sunday, we're rotating back into the warmth again. And then middle of next week is when we see something coming into the area. And we'll have to see because the models vary. One says it's coming. Both of them say it's coming through, but one says it's going to be warmer than the other, and that will be Wednesday next week into Thursday. And look at this. When you look at the monthly thing, it doesn't even show rain on there. So, that's why I don't like looking at these monthly stuff at times. You just get generalizations. See, it doesn't even show any rain next Wednesday. And then I just keep seeing zeros on here. Oh, there's a 24% chance, but that's Thursday, right? So that's the potential on that. You know what we can look at real quick today is my buddies. Let's see if I've got it in here. I saved it because I didn't want to lose it. All right, let's put in Lafayette, and it'll give us a short-term look at the HER model right now. Give it a couple seconds to run through this. All right, it's going to pop up all the LAF, and now it's going to give you all the basic numbers. And, a lot of, especially Air Force forecasters, used the numbers, and they got charts and systems just like this. Me being a Marine Corps forecaster, my guess is the Marine Corps is using a lot of these too. It's just I've been so long away from the Marine Corps, I've lost track of what they are and they aren't doing anymore, weather-wise. But you notice what you're getting is an hourly forecast each day. Or each hour of each day for Tuesday and then out into Wednesday because the HER goes out 48 hours, right, on the long-range one. And it shows, what I keep seeing here is no on thunderstorms. I like seeing that. What he's got here in his program is it will highlight the thunderstorms that there's going to be some. It'll show you the potential chances, shows you types of cloud cover. These are all important things, especially for aircraft, right? And almost my entire career has been aviation forecast oriented, where I forecast for planes going different places in different spots. From anywhere in Antarctica to New Zealand to Australia to Japan, all over the West Coast, the East Coast, South America, and into Europe and Northern Africa and even the Middle East at times when I was working at different places. So not a big Southwest Asia stuff. I did do stuff in Japan, but that was a long time ago, and I don't remember a ton of that, but I do remember the rainy seasons. Those sit with you pretty good. What I do see here is, okay, so we're looking at limited cloud cover this morning. Here we are, 8Z, 9Z. Let's go out to where we are now. 13Z, okay, is 9 o'clock. And we see 10 statute miles for your visibility, and only about 2/8 of the sky is covered. The sky in the weather world is broken into eighths. So halfway is 1/4, right? A fourth, so that's 4/8, and then the other half is 4/8. That's how it works. And it just shows 2/8, maybe 1/8 late this afternoon. This will be right around noon. Then we got 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I still see a 0. Now we're looking at no clouds to maybe really high clouds. These would be mainly clouds in the lower atmosphere, right? And remember what I said, we'd see some stratocumulus for a little bit, and then it will dissipate. That's probably exactly what the model is showing right here. That's pretty common. And then overnight it shows little to no clouds. We get a little increase in clouds during the overnight hours. This is midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, right? 3 in the morning, not much. And then we get some some stratocumulus clouds coming in. It looks like about 8/8 and wants to cover the sky up for most of tomorrow. We'll have to watch on that and see how much of that we get into there. Temperature-wise, it gives you temperatures up here. Very nice. Look at how it shows the high of 70 tomorrow. It does show 70 on here for us tomorrow. I remember it kept showing 69 on that one. Plus, there's new updates coming in on the HER, right? Is this starting to show where it is? It gives you simple things like sunrise and sunset that we're going to be seeing. And remember, these are in Zulu times. You have to take 4 hours off. So a lot of times you hear me fumble my numbers. It's because I'm constantly trying to take 4 hours off of what I see on the top of my chart. And when I see the number 15, it's not easy to say 11. It seems it would be easier, but it confuses me because I'm like, oh, that's 3 in the afternoon. That's 11, so I'm telling myself different things. But sunrise is tomorrow morning at 11:23 Zulu, which is 7:23 in the morning, right? And sets at 0016, which is 8:16, just to give you a heads up. That's kind of how the weather world works right there. But we don't see any rain in here. I don't see any rain. No thunderstorm activity. No precipitation. All these zeros mean no precipitation. A warm day tomorrow afternoon. A chilly morning tomorrow morning. Maybe, of course, this is still this morning, right? 32. Here we are. There we are, 32. And then it stops before it gets to the next morning because it doesn't have the new run in yet. So this is pretty cool because you can find, because I did work at Grissom and I have seen these and I work with these at times. I know where to pop to and look at numbers pretty quickly. I'm looking for wind directions. I'm looking for wind speeds. I see, 17 gusts to 25 this afternoon. So it's still going to be a little bit windy this afternoon, it looks like. This is actually tomorrow afternoon. Look at that. That's Wednesday. I got my days mixed up. Here we are windy. It was windy overnight, but here we are during the day this morning. It's just your wind gusts are only in around 9 to 10 knots, right? And these are showing in miles per hour. He switched it over for us so we don't have to worry about it. And then tomorrow looks to be a bit windier, but what is the trade-off, right? The trade-off for warmer temperatures is gusty winds. The winds shift around to the south. There they are. They pick up gusty winds, bring in warm temperatures, right? It happens very consistently, much higher there. And then it stays gusty overnight a bit, and we stay warm overnight tomorrow night into Thursday. So that's kind of how that runs. That's pretty cool there to take a look at that and see what he's come up with and see how many people. I'll be using it off and on from time to time. I've been using it about every other day for different places and different spaces, so to speak. I rhymed and I didn't even know it. I'm a poet. What? Oh, sorry. All right, let's go back to the HER real quick. Let's see how much of the new run is in. All right, 93% is in. So let's go in a little closer here. Let's see what it says, see if it's giving us any updates. Is there any of this rain going to actually get to us? It's out to our west, or is it going to fall apart and pinwheel around us and try to come in, 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning, give us a light shower? So let's see what the HER says now. So here we are. There's 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. We're moving on through the day. Here we are at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and the rain is still out to the west there. You notice nothing's over us, and then we come through. Now, remember when we were just looking at the previous model and we were just looking at the numbers lined up? It said there was no chance of any rain, and that was on the old one, right? But what are we going to do? Are we going to squeeze anything out? Look at that. Here we are. There's 4 o'clock in the morning right there, and the rain is now pushed up to the north. Is it going to kick anything off of it? Nope. We still think there's a chance for a rain shower up near Rensselaer, north of Monticello, probably, between Monticello and Knox and North Judson right in there. There could be a little light shower from this, it looks like. It kind of keeps us high and dry and keeps that rain to the north of us right now. So I was already telling you it was just a slight risk of anything. This looks like almost nothing. And then our winds turn due south. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. We warm up nicely on that front. So we've got 93% in on it, and it brings in that little scattered rains. See how this goes out to Thursday night, but then we get into the pinwheel kind of area where it stays to our north for a little bit. Let's see here temperature-wise, what does it do for us? When we go back out to this, all right. Um, our high today, what are we looking for? Does it get us to 46 or anything? No, but look at this. It shows Crawfordsville at 49 and we're at 45. I feel hard to believe that they're going to be 4 degrees warmer than us here in Lafayette, but we'll stick with around 45 to 47 today. Slight chance for us, especially if you're south of town, to get up to 50. Overnight tonight, right down to 43, 40. There it is, 32. We just hit the 32s again, so very similar to what the previous run was. Then we start to warm up. Look at this. Woo, look at that change tomorrow in the morning. So here we are at 10 o'clock. I'll be getting off the air talking with you. It'll be 42, and I'll be telling you it's 70, and you'll be like, no, it's not, Brian. It's 30 outside. It's 35. And then it'll start to warm up very nicely and very quickly, but so do the winds. The winds come in. You can see the tight gradient along here. The gradient is how close these lines are together. And the gradient's less over here, less wind over here, more wind coming in from the west as the morning progresses. And then by the time we get to 4 o'clock, we're at 68, 70 degrees, somewhere in there, 69. And then so somewhere probably during that time frame, we're going to hit 70. And it was because we're jumping through there. And the model just doesn't project it on there to show it to you. But you can see there, that's why we're going to go for 70 tomorrow. Remember, I said 70, 72, so we'll see if that changes at all. But then overnight tomorrow night stays warm. Now we're only at 50 for our low. 49 overnight, goes out to 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday morning. That's how far out it is. It's only got 2 hours left on that run. So that's what you're looking at for temperatures there. So looking pretty good. Not bad at all for us. Let's see if we can go a little regional sector here. Take a look at the clouds running through and change over to visual first real quick before we get out of here for the day. Let's look at the sandwich mode. There it is. Now you're starting. You can even see the line where it kind of starts to pick up more visual, right? But we can visually see that a lot of this is mid and high clouds. Okay, yeah, easier for me to tell than it may be for you, but I can also see the stratocumulus coming off over here, and some of that may spread in right there. So let's go in a little closer. Let's go in one shot closer and get the... There you go. You see the clouds coming off the lake, creating just enough moisture to probably give us some stratocu for a couple hours, and then the sun will hit on it enough and be high enough in the sky that it'll just dry it up. And then all this cirrus, look at all the cirrus that's there. What do you notice? It's eroding. See this? It's eroding along here, just falling apart, right? So you're getting all this erosion of the high clouds here. Your rain is still way back here and staying back there. And you're bumping into this big high that's setting up over the lake. Actually, it's probably southern Wisconsin is where we were seeing it. And it's drifting across the lake through today and tomorrow. And then it'll get out towards our east and start to shift around and bring us to warm air tomorrow. So that's where we're looking, at least on that front. Let's pop the radar in there so we can see it. Look at, there it is. Look at all this stuff. Remember, we were talking about this same thing here. You're getting an erosion on all the edges, and all your intensities are going down as it bangs into the high pressure system. Right now, it's trying to dive under the high. The high is here. Right? And you've got, what do you get on your high pressure systems? Your low pressure systems are counterclockwise. Your high pressure systems are clockwise. So it's trying to dive under this high, which is trying to force it. And all the wind is coming in from this direction, from the north and from the northeast. And so this is trying to it's being pushed down and under, even though it's trying to rotate differently. So then this falls apart, but then a little wave of it stays together as the high progresses to the east. Then we get the rotation of this upper level system of the rotation of the rain that's there in Iowa, which is the upper portion of the system, try to come back and bring some showers into Chicago probably, and maybe as far south as Rensselaer, just north of Monticello, North Judson, Knox, LaPorte, South Bend, that kind of thing up there to the north. So that's where you're seeing the rain and where there'll be potential overnight tonight with that. All right, that is it for me today. It is closing in on 10 o'clock. It has been great talking with you guys. Ray, thanks for chiming in all about the game. I did not watch any of the game, but it sounds like it must have been pretty good because I think the score was pretty close. I'll go back and watch some highlights here in just a little bit when I'm done. Got a busy day ahead today. Feeling pretty decent today, Ray. I did a lot of work out in the barn yesterday for me, helping lifting and doing some things. And I think I overdid it a little bit. We'll have to see. I feel a little iffy this morning, but I'm trying to get into church this afternoon and into this evening. And so if you get a chance, stop over at Innovation and see me. If you're watching this right now, I'll try to be in there this afternoon and into the evening hours for band practice tonight. That's it for me. Signing off right now. Oh, let me go back out. There you go. Signing off, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.